This is a commencement of a protocol that I'm quite excited about. This is going to be a 30-day self-development initiative primarily for men, although women can do it as well. But this is tailored to the development that a lot of men need, as well as the struggles that a lot of men go through. And I created this challenge because these initiatives have helped me immensely in my own journey. And there's a lot of men out there that are going through it in some way. They're either in a rut or straight up at rock bottom, or just not sure how to break through, not sure how to evolve. And so I've put together a bit of a protocol to help many men develop in a very short amount of time for free. This is the idea. Before I tell you what it is, I'd like to give a massive shout out to Andy Frisella and 75 Hard, because this challenge wouldn't exist without that challenge and without Andy. If you guys aren't familiar with 75 Hard, it is a protocol, much like the one I'm about to outline, where it's essentially a series of initiatives that you have to take every day for 75 days straight, including an indoor workout, an outdoor workout, 10 pages out of a book, a gallon of water, mirror selfie each day, no junk food, I believe no alcohol, and committing to a diet of your choosing. And I might be missing something, but that's the general idea. I've gone through that challenge, and I've gone through it several times, and it's forged me quite drastically. In the early days of my business and self-development journey, I went through that challenge, and it helped a lot. And you can talk to any person who's done 75 Hard. The version of themselves that they came out of the challenge as is completely different than when they started the challenge. So massive shout out to Andy in that challenge, because that challenge has helped probably millions of people at this point. And again, this challenge wouldn't exist without that challenge. And so why am I making a new challenge? Because again, I'm tailoring this more to men, and a couple of the initiatives one of the initiatives is specifically curated to men and the struggles that men go through. And it's also just shifted in a little bit of a different direction, and it's something that I think can serve a lot of people. So this is what the challenge is. I'm about to go through these parameters. Yeah, let's get right to it. So numero uno, again, I said this was a 30-day challenge. I went with a shorter time frame. It just felt right. It felt like a nice short detox time frame. And that's what it is. And so that's what we're running with for right now. The first parameter is a 45-minute workout or physical activity of any kind. It can be a walk, although I'd recommend not doing a walk for the entire 30 days unless you're starting from a extremely handicapped physical standpoint, or walking or something basic is all you really can do. I would go for a lot of resistance training here, whatever your favorite kinds are. It can be sporting activities. You want to make it intense, right? You want to create a physical transformation for yourself. So 45 minutes of a workout of any kind. That's number one. Number two is a 10-minute meditation. A lot of men don't go quiet, and they're uncomfortable with getting quiet, and they're uncomfortable with non-stimulus. If you think about it, we're always walking, talking, driving, eating, working, consuming, distracting ourselves with something. And a lot of men, most men, haven't given themselves any amount of space to just breathe, evaluate what's on the inside, start to process. And meditation can do 1,000 different things for you, depending on who you are and what stage of your journey you're at, depending on what elements of your self-development are kind of the lowest hanging fruit. There's 1,000 different tools you can use. You can use YouTube, you can use a couple different apps. I'll link the app I use down below. Meditation can do many different things. The lowest kind of common denominator of meditation is just breathing and just not having any external stimulus. If you are going to have an external stimulus, it would be a guided meditation from YouTube or an app, or just ambient meditative music or nature, but no phone, no other people talking, nothing else going on. You're just focusing on your breath. And a lot of people think, I suck at meditation, or I'm not good at it. I can't just focus for 10 minutes. You don't need to focus. You don't need to focus for 10 seconds. It's okay if you get distracted every 5 seconds and you have to bring your attention back. It's okay if you go through an entire 9 or 10 minutes of a meditation, you're like, wow, I didn't really focus on my breath that much. I kind of got distracted, went down several different thought patterns. That's okay. This is a practice. All you can ask of yourself for this parameter is just allotting a 10-minute slot in your day to just go quiet. I recommend eyes closed, although it doesn't need to be. Just get in any comfortable position. Start to breathe. That's it, okay? Like I said, meditation can support you in many different ways, depending on where you're at, depending on who you are, depending on what you got on the inside. But as far as just outlining the parameter in this video goes, 10 minutes breathing, no stimulus, okay? Doesn't matter what time of day, morning, night, evening, middle of the day, lunch break, whenever you can do it. You'll probably find a time of day that is most optimal for you through experimentation, but for all intents and purposes, doesn't matter what time of day. Okay, next up, 10 pages of a nonfiction book. This one is also from 75 Hard. Positive inputs in general are one of the most potent self-development tools in my experience. Positive inputs come in many different kinds. YouTube video, podcast, book, audiobook. And YouTube videos, podcasts, audiobooks, those are great. Those are phenomenal. I consume them often. However, a physical book, there's something different about it. There's something about it that requires more focus and more intention. It's more of a study. It has to be nonfiction. So business, self-development, mindset, inner work, emotional work, relationship work, whatever you feel as though is highest leverage to consume, but just nonfiction book, 10 pages per day. Next up, no drugs, no alcohol. So it's pretty self-explanatory as well. You'll be completely clean during these 30 days. This will be tougher for those of you guys who are coming into this with a consistent drinking or drug usage pattern, or even have an addiction. It'll even be challenging for those of you who socially drink or socially smoke or whatever the case may be. That's okay, right? You're gonna be completely clean, nothing distracting you, nothing numbing you for these 30 days. Next parameter, 4 liters of water. You immediately notice the difference if you're hydrated or not. So it's just something that had to be in the challenge. So 4 liters of water, that's a bit over a gallon for those of you who are in the States, but 4 liters of water is the parameter. That's that. Next up, no junk food, no chocolate or candy. We're talking typical junk food, chips, cinnamon buns. Like, you guys know what junk food is. It's kind of a fuzzy line, but you can draw the line for yourself. But this is where the first major part of integrity comes into the challenge, where it's like, if something's in front of you and you're like, ooh, that's a bit junk foody. It's not a blatant junk food. It's not an easy call, but at the same time, I can't really call it healthy. That's a no-go, right? You're gonna have to make a bunch of gut calls during this challenge, and you're gonna have to make decisions when no one's looking, and no one will know. Only you would know. But that's also what this challenge does for you, and that's also what 75 Hard did for me, is I had to make a lot of calls, and everyone who's done 75 Hard and done it honestly has made a lot of calls, a lot of hard calls where nobody would have known if they would have, eaten a cookie or whatever, but they said no. Nobody would have known if they had a drink or whatever. They could have easily called that food that they had healthy food, but instead they're like, no, it's a bit unhealthy. I'm gonna say no. This is the type of integrity we're talking about here, and this is the type of integrity you'll have to deploy within the challenge. So, no junk food. Okay, last 2 here, and these are pretty potent. This is not an easy challenge. I didn't make this challenge to be easy. I made it to be an aggressive self-development initiative for the men who are ready. Next initiative is no social media scrolling. Some people may not like this, but that's okay. They can make their own challenge. No social media scrolling. Deleting the apps is the easiest thing to do. But if you need the apps, like if you have a business or you have a personal brand of some kind, right? You use the apps. This is what I did for myself and do for myself. The second I become consciously aware that I'm scrolling, I must stop. Because I still use the apps for productive things, so it can look like scrolling, but the intention is it's for work. I still answer DMs, stuff like that, right? And so the second I become aware that I'm scrolling when I shouldn't be, that I'm mindlessly scrolling, that I'm just swiping reels, hands off, I'm done. And if I wait even a second longer, fail. And it's been pretty effective for me. The second I become consciously aware, hands off, exit out, see ya. This will be difficult, especially, we've had social media for, a decade plus now. So this is going against the grain of how you're wired, and it's gonna feel uncomfortable. You're gonna have a sense of FOMO if you're not checking up on your friends and family's stories as much as you usually do. That's okay. A lot of people feel a greater sense of FOMO than what actually exists. For example, if you really wanted to check up on your friends and family, shoot them a text. Say, how are you doing? What's new in your life? You don't need to rely on what they're gonna post for the whole world to see to figure out how they're doing. If you really care about somebody in your life, text them, shoot them a text, give them a call, set up a Zoom meeting. So you're not actually missing out on anything here, even though your body's gonna feel like it, because it's used to a certain form of connection and certainty and significance that we get through social media connections and viewing other people's stories. But it's fake, it's a smokescreen. And so it'll feel uncomfortable, but preventing yourself from wasting hours and hours on social media is well worth whatever trade-off you anticipate there will be with this. And if we do the math, if you waste 2 hours a day on social media, that's a month out of your year, literally. So this is not an unimportant initiative to take, okay? Especially if you want to max out your true potential. You need time, you need energy. And social media takes both of those things from us. And so that's why it's in this challenge. All right, last but certainly not least, especially for men, no porn, no masturbation during these 30 days. This will be challenging for a lot of you. It was challenging for me, it still is. But the thing is, most men these days do have some form of addiction to porn or masturbation. Probably both in most cases, right? If we think about it, we're wired to reproduce. It's one of the primary objectives of the way that we're wired as a human being. And that hasn't changed. However, society has changed drastically. Social media is pretty much like soft porn these days. We have OnlyFans, we have Pornhub, right? We got a bunch of things, easily accessible, naked people having sex whenever we want, as much as we want, right? And unfortunately, many men are caught in the trap of consuming that material and jerking off very often, daily, if not more than once per day. And when they do that, as far as their body's concerned, they're fulfilling their duty as a man. They're doing what they were put here to do. As far as their body is concerned, they're a king that has all these women or all these partners just lining up to have sex with them, and they're having sex often. They must be the king of the village. This is what your body thinks if you're jerking off all the time. But in reality, you're just wasting your life force energy on nothing. You're wasting time, you're wasting energy, you're wasting focus. How ambitious do you feel after you blow a load as a man? You feel like chilling in bed, watching Netflix. You feel like doing shit all. This is not conducive to maxing out your true potential. And if you can't control your right hand, you can't control anything else. Can't control your life, can't control your goals. If you can't lead yourself, can't expect others to follow you. And overcoming this addiction is probably one of, if not the most important self-development initiative you take. So this will be difficult to go through these parameters again. 45-minute workout, 10-minute meditation, 10 pages of a nonfiction book, no porn or masturbation, no drugs, no alcohol, no social media scrolling, no junk food, and 4 liters of water. So 4 of the parameters are know something, right? So the only parameters that will actually add time to your day are 45-minute workout, 10-minute meditation, 10 pages of nonfiction book. 4 liters of water doesn't really add time to your day. So we're talking about, a hour and 15-minute addition to your day. You should be working out anyways. This isn't like a massive detriment to your life. This will add a lot to your life. And especially if you consider the time you're getting back and the energy you're getting back by not jerking off, not scrolling social media, not drinking and getting hungover and sleeping in the next day. You're gonna be getting time and energy back through this challenge. Again, this is not an easy challenge. This is an aggressive challenge. This is kind of a all in, all out type of challenge. This challenge will force you to develop levels of discipline and integrity you probably haven't developed up until this point in your life. And I say this from a standpoint of a man who has struggled with several of these things. For me in particular, no porn I never watched. Masturbation was an addiction for me for a very long time. And as well as social media scrolling is something I still struggle with. Again, with our prehistoric wiring, our body thinks, oh wow, we're so social, we're so connected, we're part of a tribe. We get so much certainty out of life. We get a dopamine hit. There's just all of these little internal wiring systems that it just checks off. And so we get addicted to it. And I definitely fell into that trap, right? And so I've done all these initiatives in the past. I'm going to be officially committing to this particular challenge immediately though, starting tomorrow as well. Some of these are more difficult for me than others. So I'm going to do this challenge 30 days. I encourage you guys to give it a shot if you feel like you need it. Kickstart in life, if you need a momentum boost, if you need a reason to level up, if you're not sure where to start in your self-development journey, if you know you need a kick in the ass but don't know what to do, I think this is probably the challenge for you. And please let me know if you're starting it. Let me know how it goes. Let me know if you complete it. I'm excited to make this more and more of a thing. I may make some iterations to this challenge as we go forward here. I may make changes to some of the parameters, maybe the time frame even, who knows. My vision for this is to make it something like 75 hard, where it's something that impacts a lot of people. It's just a free tool to use, something that hundreds of thousands, if not millions of men use to level themselves up, and something they recommend to their friends to try out if they know that their friends are struggling in a certain way. Just as a free instant initiative they can take to kickstart their self-development. That's my intention. That's the challenge. Now the ball's in your court. What are you gonna do? I know it's scary. I know it's can be uncomfortable, but committing to a challenge like this and calling yourself out if you fuck up, if you don't get in every ounce of that 4 liters of water, if you scroll for even 10 seconds, if you consume one chip, if you don't do every minute of that 45-minute workout, if you don't hit every single parameter for every day, 30 days straight, you restart. That aspect of it will develop integrity. And that's important that you follow the rules and you're honest with yourself with this challenge. Because lying to yourself, you're missing the point if you lie in any way to complete the challenge. You have to be 100% a man of integrity and honesty if you really want this challenge to have its full effect on you. I'll leave it at that. I'm super excited about this. A lot of men need this. I think there's probably hundreds of millions of men around the world, if not billions, that have, a porn addiction or alcohol addiction or social media scrolling addiction or multiple of those that don't really work out, that haven't gone quiet through meditation and breath, that don't really consume positive inputs. So I'm excited about this little one of many tools I hope to provide to the world to make the world a better place, particularly through helping men develop into what they define to be their elite self. Again, please comment down below if you're starting this challenge, or reach out to me on Instagram. I would love to give you a virtual high five for going for it. It takes balls to really commit to it, and especially commit to it publicly. So yeah, cheers to the next little chapter of your journey. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you do the challenge, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.